other remaining Indian Council Acts. Next, that is about the India Councils Act of 1909. So, what is the importance of India Councils Act of 1909? During that period, who was the Viceroy of India and Secretary of State for India? Lord Minto was the Viceroy or the British Viceroy in India, and Lord Morley, or also called as Morley, was the Secretary of State for India. So here these two, the role of these two persons, very important related to this act, that is India Councils Act of 1909. Here was the Viceroy of India, Lord Minto. Lord Minto was the British Viceroy of India, and Lord Morley was the Secretary of State for India. This post, these two posts was created in the year 1858. That is after the India Government Act of 1858. According to that, Viceroy was Lord Minto. According to that act, Secretary of State was Lord Morley. So here these act, because of their whatever role in this act, the Act of India Councils Act of 1909 was also called as Minto-Morley Act of 1909. So the Council Act of 1909 was also called as the Minto-Morley Act of 1909. So here this act was used. The main policy, that is what divide and rule India. So this reform or this act was responsible for dividing Indians as Hindus and Muslims because of some of the features of this act. So the rule that was, or the policy that was used by British under this act was divide and rule policy. So let us discuss about the important features of India Councils Act of 1909 and also called as Minto-Morley Act. The first one, the total member of Central Legislature was increased from 16 to 16. So already 1890, that is Indian Councils Act. Representation for the first time given, that is during the Act of 1861. Then it was extended during 1892 Act. Now one more development, that is the total number of Central Legislature was increased, that is from 16 to 16. That is the first important feature. Next, the member of regional council members also increased. The member of Central Legislature was increased. Along with that, the member of Regional Council was also increased according to the Council Act of 1909. So representation was increased. They given more and more representation to the Indians. So representation was increased here. One is under Central Legislature, one more is under Regional Council. Third one, representation of the Regional Council was allowed through election for the first time. For the first time, election was conducted to select the representatives for what? Representatives for Regional Council. So for the first time, election was introduced to select the representatives for Regional Council. In order to increase the members or the representatives of Regional Council, so here this representation was increased and this representation was selected with the help of election. So for the first time, election was conducted under the Act of 1909. That is one more important development. Next, to provide separate representation for Muslims, separate electoral college was created. That is one more important change. That's why in the beginning itself I told that the policy that British used during this reformation movement, that is gain support in order to establish their rule to rule Indians. Here they divided Indians according to their religion. So that's why a separate representation was given to the Muslims under separate electorate college. So very important question. Separate electorate college was created under which act? Under the first time under India Councils Act of 1909. So these are the important features of India Councils Act of 1909. So 1909 Act was also called as Minto-Morley Act because during that when the Reformation was introduced during that period, Viceroy of India was Lord Minto and Lord Morley was the Secretary of State. So important features, once again I will repeat the important features of Minto-Morley Act of 1909. That is first one, the total number of central legislature increased, that is 16 to 60. And these features are very important, that's why concentrate. Second one, the number of regional council members were also increased. Third one, representation of the regional council was allowed through election. So, election was conducted for the first time. Next, to provide separate representation for Muslims, a separate electorate college was created. So, this is about the features of Indian Council Act of 1909. So, what about next act? Government Act or Government of India Act of 1919. See, in the year 1914, the First World War was broke out. That is from 1914 to 1918. So, this First World War was broke out in Europe, and in this Indians were supported English. During First World War that was broke out in the year 1914 and it was came to an end in the year 1918. So during this period, British were supported by Indian soldiers. That's why there was a connection of this Government of India Act of 1919 with the representation or the participation of Indian soldiers in the World War or First World War of 1914 to 1918. So that's why here Lord Montego was the Secretary of State during 1919. He was the Secretary of State for India, Lord Montego. So Lord Montego got support from Indian soldiers during the First World War. That's why here he supported Indians. He supported Indians and argued in favor of providing more representation to Indians in administration. Montego, the British Secretary in India, supported Indians. Why? In order to give more representation to Indians in the administration. So his view was supported by the Viceroy of India, who was the Viceroy of India in 1919, Lord Chelmsford. Lord Chelmsford supported the view of Lord Montego. That's why finally he declared reformation. That is reformative measures in British Parliament on 28 1917. So in 28 1917, reformative measures were implemented or introduced in the British Parliament in favor of Indians to give more and more representation in the administration. That's why this act was famously called as 1919 Act, or the Government of India Act of 1919 was also called as Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act of 1919. So Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act of 1919. So very important question. Here these two questions, don't be confused with these two acts. India Councils Act of 1919 was called as a Minto-Morley Act. The Government of India Act of 1990 was called as a Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act of 1990. So, then what are the important features of this Act, Government of India Act of 1990? This Act formulated bicameral legislature. By means two. So, bicameral legislature. They formed two houses, that is upper house and the lower house. For the first time, bicameral legislature was introduced, that is under the Government of India Act of 1990. Bicameral legislature with the two houses, that is upper house and lower house. That is the first important feature. Second one more development, that is diarchy. Diarchy was allowed at regional government. Then what do you mean by diarchy? That is ruled by two independent, that is an independent autonomous power. That is nothing but one is secretary, one more is a viceroy. That is called the rule or the administration by two independent authorities. That is one is viceroy and one more is the secretary of state for India. So diarchy was, or diarchy, one and the same, was allowed at the regional government, not at the center, but at the regional government was introduced. Regional government came under the control of both secretary and the viceroy. That is what called as a diarchy or diarchy. So this system was introduced after the Indian Government Act of 1990. Next, High Commissioner was appointed for India. British government appointed High Commissioner. High Commissioner was appointed for India by the British government. In order to help or assist in the administration, here High Commissioner was appointed. Next, the British government promised to improve local self-governments in India. The British government agreed to bring some measures or reforms in the local self-governments. Before there was no improvements or the reforms in the local self-government. Local self-governments are very important. That's why they are given or promised to bring some of the improvement. That is, British government promised to bring some of the measures or reforms in the local self-government. Local self-government. Next, provincial budget. Budget, that is an annual report, that is the income and expenditure of a year. That is what called as a budget. So provincial budget, the budget of the provincial regions was separated from central budget for the first time according to the Act of 1919. Provincial budget was separated from the central budget. Next, a separate electoral college. Already it was introduced during 1909 Councils Act or Minto-Morley Act. That is, a separate electoral college was established, but it was extended. Here only it was given to Muslims, but now it was extended for Muslims, Sikhs, Anglo-Indians and to Europeans. So here separate electoral college was extended for Muslims, Sikhs, Anglo-Indians and Europeans. So these are all very important features of the Government of India Act of 1990. So here Government of India Act of 1990 was also called as the Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act. Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act. Montego was the Secretary of India who supported Indians and asked for the more representation for the Indians in the administration. That finally reformative was introduced in British Parliament by Chelmsford, Lord Chelmsford. So all these features I will repeat once again. That is first one, Act formulated bicameral legislature with two houses, upper house and lower house. Second one, hierarchy was allowed at regional government. Third one, High Commissioner was appointed for India. Next, British government promised to improve local self-government. Next, provincial budget was separated from central budget, and separate electoral college was extended to Muslims. 6, then Anglo-Indians and Europeans. So this is about India, the Government of India Act of 1919. The Government of or India Council Act of 1909, famously called as Minto-Morley Act, and the Government of India Act of 1919 was called as Montego-Chelmsford Act or Reformation Act. So this is about these two council acts of 1909 and 1990. Dear students, let us discuss about the India Government of India Act of 1935. Government of India Act of 1935 was very important act because it was considered as the base of Indian Constitution. It was a founding stone for the establishment of Indian Constitution. That's why this act was very important. So it was considered as the base for the formation of Indian Constitution. Here, then what was the main instrument for the establishment or for the formation of Government of India Act of 1935? Nehru Report. That is Motilal Nehru submitted report that is in the year 1928. That was famously called as a Nehru Report. So this report was considered as the instrumental for formation of Government Act of 1935. So Nehru Report submitted by Motilal Nehru in 1928 was the instrumental for the formation of 1935 Government of India Act. So here this allowed, this Government of India Act of 1935 allowed to establish fully responsible government by the Indians. Even though India was under the control of British, but the power to govern or to administer some of the places was given to Indians. That was allowed to establish fully responsible government in India. Was given according to the Act of 1935. While introducing whatever acts, British always considered their interest as well as the demands of Indians. Indians always they demanded self-rule as well as their establishment of their government, self-government. So British always considered their interest first, then given importance to Indians. So then what are the important features of the Government Act of 1935? The first one, a federal system of Indian principalities. British governed regions and dominion states was formed. So very important question. What is this federal system of Indian principalities? In Indian principalities, here the federal system of government was introduced. Federal system means the government centralized, not centralized, decentralized. That is regional government, state government and central government. So federal system of Indian principalities were introduced by the British. That is one development. Next, British, one more. Some of the areas or the provinces of India were declared as a British governed principalities. They were directly under the control of British. And next one, also the British government also allowed to establish dominion states or status was formed. What do you mean by dominion states? That is complete power, autonomous power given to India in some provinces. So that was called as a dominion states. Indians were allowed to establish dominion status. The three important facts in this, that is one is the establishment of federal system of government in Indian principalities under the control of some kings or some of the territories where British declared a federal system. That principalities divided into central government, state government and regional government. And some of the territories or the provinces of India were directly under the control of British. That was called as the British governed provinces. And remaining some of the provinces where they provided dominion status or dominion states, that is autonomous power given to Indians to rule over these places or the administration of these places, that is called as a dominion states or the establishment of a dominion status. Second one, a very important point, that is Reserve Bank of India was established. In the year 1935, an act was passed. According to that act, Reserve Bank of India was established on 1st April 1935. This is the Central Bank of India. It was established in Mumbai to control the financial matters of a country. That is what Reserve Bank of India. Leader of all the banks of our country, that is Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India was established according to the Government Act of 1935, that is established on 1st April 1935. Next, diarchy established at the center. In the earlier, diarchy was established in a regional areas, but or the regional provinces. But here, diarchy was extended up to the center. So, diarchy means the rule by two autonomous or independent person, that is Viceroy and the Secretary. So, one more point, that is diarchy was cancelled at regional level. So, very important point, diarchy was cancelled in regional level and introduced in the central or the central provinces or at the center. So that was an important point. Diarchy was cancelled at regional level and regional level given autonomous power to the local government. And this same system was introduced at the center. That was one more important feature of the Government Act of 1935. The last one here, the Federal Court. Federal Court was established. Federal Court was established. Supreme Court of Judicature was established according to the Regulating Act of 1773, and Federal Court was established according to the Government Act or the Government of India Act of 1935. So this is about the important features of the Government of India Act of 1935. That is first one, a federal system of Indian principalities, British governed regions and dominion states was formed according to this act. Second one, Reserve Bank of India was established. Third one, diarchy was established at the center and diarchy was cancelled at the regional level. And last one, the Federal Court was established. In this way, many acts were introduced by British in India that helped the development of Indian Constitution. The evolution of Indian Constitution was took place with the help of all these acts. British introduced so many acts like Regulating Act, next Charter Acts, then Indian Councils Act and India Government Act. So among all these acts, the Government of India Act of 1935 was very important because this was considered as a base of the formation of the Indian Constitution. So this much about this lesson.